The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, it's The Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. Ken Coleman, Ramsey personality, #1 best-selling author of the book Paycheck to Purpose, and host of the Ken Coleman Show, is my co-host today. As we talk about your relationships, your careers, your jobs, your work, your money, and your life. It's what we do here at Ramsey. We talk to you about all of these things, and we're going to talk to you about them right in front of you. Open phones at 888-825-5225. The call is free, and some say the advice is worth exactly what you pay for it. Greg is with us in Frederick, Maryland to start off this hour. Hi, Greg. Welcome to The Ramsey Show.
Hey, Dave. How's everything going? I know ask you how you're doing, but you, like me, are better than we need to be, right?
That's exactly right, sir. What's up?
Yes. I have a question for you. I've been pondering this to exactly what I should do. I'm retired, been retired for a couple of years. Financially, God has blessed us. I have one portfolio that I've been saving over the years to pay the house off. We have a house that we got about $80,000 left, and I can take that money, pay it off, or continue to pay the monthly premium. So my question to you, Dave, is what should I do? Should I worry about the bite I'm going to get from taxes, but the comfort and relief I have of owning my house? I'm 71, so I'm on the end of the investment spectrum.
Yeah. So how much? What's your total nest egg?
Well, counting the house.
Everything. No, your total nest egg in your retirement accounts or in your stock portfolios or whatever.
About 800, give or take, depending on the market.
Okay. So you know enough you knew enough about me to be able to know how I was going to answer the question, how are you doing? So you already know I'm going to answer this.
Okay.
Don't you?
I think I do, but I'm not positive. That's
okay.
What I'm calling.
That's okay. Okay. If you had $80,000 to your name, I would question whether you pay off your house or not, because I don't want you to be broke with a paid-off house. Okay.
Yeah. Well,
but you got $800,000 and you use $80,000 to pay off the house. I think you're still going to be okay. So I paid off my house about 2 years ago.
Right. Right. Actually, we've had a financial advisor most of our lives, actually getting ready to go talk to one of your recommendations here next week.
Okay.
Talking about switching.
Okay. Cool.
Switching.
Why? Why are you switching?
Well, because I've been listening to you, and you raised a good point. And I always knew it, but never really followed through with it as far as it's my money. They should be teaching me. And the guy that we have, we've been making good money with him for years, but looking back on it, it's like, well, I've made recommendations. Why aren't you taking them, or at least telling me what's going on? So I'm point being is I'm not.
Okay, so he's a bit arrogant and a bit controlling, and you want to be away from that. Is that what you're saying?
I would say to some extent, yeah, that's probably true. What I mean?
A lot of people in that business are, so that's not that unusual. It's kind of one of the ways that those of us that come out of that business are taught. We're taught to drop the glasses down on the end of our nose and talk down to you.
Right,
and you're the one that's a millionaire.
Well, I'm upset because I didn't find out about you 20 years ago, but be that as it may. I got you now, and I just need your input. I'd take a big hit on taxes. Because
you're not going to take a big hit on taxes. You're going to take a little hit on taxes. Pay off your house today. Thanks for your call, man. I appreciate you listening. We're honored to have you. It's Ken, it's just essential that in any area of our lives, career coaching, even what Dr. Deloney does, even with therapy, so to speak, that the person you're involved with is not dropping their glasses on the end of their nose.
That's right. Yeah, you said it for years. the heart of the teacher. When we talk about our Smart Investor Pros, we've told people, go sit with multiple, interview them, because we want them to have the heart of the teacher, not just in how they treat you, but more importantly, that they will teach you until you get it, because it is your money. We don't want somebody telling me what to do. We want someone going, okay, here's where we see a strategy, whether it be mental health or in your job and trying to grow professionally. It's always good to have a coach, but a coach who doesn't just tell you what to do, but shows you how to do it. There's a big difference.
Well, and you understand why and what.
Yeah.
Not just follow my directions without thinking.
Yeah.
You don't want to be sheeple.
That's right. That's right.
You don't want to be in any area of your life, because it's not going to end well for you. So I question everything until you give me a reason not to.
That's right. Do I understand why we're doing this? And it's okay, by the way, to keep asking why. You know what else is interesting, too, is the psychology behind Greg's call, and I actually totally see myself in that call, in that I hate taxes so much, and for good reason, and Greg also has great reasons. But in that case, it's like the taxes, you got to pay them, and so don't miss out on the bigger play, the bigger wealth building, the bigger benefit of paying the house off, because we hate that tax burden. We hate that, I got to pay that. I get that. I certainly see that.
Yeah, well, and here's the thing. At 70 and a half, you have to begin pulling money out systematically anyway.
That's right.
Your required minimum distributions. And so you don't have a choice. It was not enough to pay off the house, but you're going to have some taxes anyway.
Yeah, you got to deal with it.
That's if you've got everything in traditional, or whatever you've got in traditional is going to have to begin to systematically be moved out. And so, yeah, but I agree. I've found myself doing things for tax reasons only if I'm not careful, and they're not good economic reasons, but they're good tax reasons.
That's right.
And boy, that just comes from this whole thing of hating taxes and hating how stupidly the government handles our money.
That's right.
So on. Open phones here at 888-825-5225. Bethany on Instagram says, I want to break out on my own and do my own thing before I turn 30, but I'm not sure yet what I want to do and how to figure it out. Can you give me a little advice, Ken?
Yeah. So what we want to do is we want to look at the easiest way to find clues to this big question. What do I want to do with my life? And we start with talent, Dave. We're all given talent by our Creator, and He gave us these talents to use. And what we can do is begin to say, wait a second, these are the areas, and let's just think of hard skills and soft skills. And you can start, if you're having a hard time identifying them for yourself, number one, there's nothing wrong with you, but there are others in our lives, people who have coached us, people who have taught us, people who have done life with us that can help us see ourselves as the world sees us. So what do you really do well? It's always come easy for you. This is the idea of talent. We can take talent and then with practice and diligence and training, turn it into a skill. So think of it as a power tool. Start with talent, because when we know we're good at it, then we begin to ask the question, I'm good at this. How can I use this to do something I really enjoy? Then we begin to say, what makes me come alive? What do I enjoy when I do this type of task?
See, I was in class. I always got in trouble for talking.
Well,
and it's a good thing they invented talk radio, huh?
You love communicating. And so just look at those clues. But for
just
the
talking.
Greater audience who's going, hey, I got the same question, go to Ramsey Solutions and get the Get Clear Career Assessment. 20 minutes or less, you're going to get more answers than you've ever had in your life.
Chaos. That's what it can feel like when your business is growing so fast you've outgrown your financial and accounting software. The faster you grow, the more likely you are to lose control of the numbers. And here's the reality. If you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. That's why we use NetSuite by Oracle, the #1 cloud financial system. Over 28,000 companies use NetSuite by Oracle, including Ramsey Solutions, because NetSuite gives us a single view of everything we need to make daily decisions. Whether you're making a few million to hundreds of millions a year, NetSuite gives you the visibility and control of the things you need to grow, like your financials, inventory, HR, planning, budgeting, and more, all in one dashboard. Go to netsuite.com/Ramsey right now to get their free white paper. Jumpstart your CFO career. Ken Coleman, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host. Over the last 30 years, I've walked with tens of thousands of people and their families to help them overcome their stresses. And we found that money stress is just one of all kinds of ways we experience stress. People struggle with stress, anxiety, loneliness all the time. We all have some sort of crazy out there, right? We've all had lies told about us by well-meaning people or not so well-meaning people. And the list of hurts, they go on and on. Unfortunately, you can't change your past, but you can change your future. And here's the great news. Dr. John Deloney has a brand new book out. We are putting it in pre-sale yesterday, and it has sold a record number. It's doing very well, called Own Your Past, Change Your Future. He'll walk you through a not-so-complicated approach to relationships, mental health, and wellness. Through his personal stories, decades of experience and research, Dr. Deloney shows us how to transform hurt into healing and move from hopelessness to hopefulness. It's available for pre-order right now. He'll show you how to deal with different kinds of trauma, how to get connected to a community and make friends as an adult, and the steps you could take to change your thoughts and actions. It's possible. And here's why you need to pre-order. You're going to get over $300 worth of bonus items with a pre-order, which includes an entire month free of one-on-one counseling with BetterHelp, one of Dr. Deloney's sponsors. So pre-order your copy of Own Your Past, Change Your Future for only $20. Get $300 worth of stuff. Do it at RamseySolutions.com and do it today. Dr. John's book came out of the chute hot, Ken.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of pain out there, and we're seeing that. And it's only been, exacerbated by a 2-year period of tremendous uncertainty, changing the rhythms and the locations of how we interact with people. You mentioned this in staff meeting Monday. We think there's going to be a real revolution, was the word you used, of people returning to the humanness. And, we're relational human beings. And when that's broken, when it's been changed, I mean, there's just a lot of pain out there, and it's the right time for this.
Yep, it's needed, very needed. Sonny is with us in Dallas, Texas. Hi, Sonny. Welcome to the Ramsey Show. How can we help?
Hey, guys. How y'all doing today? Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
Just real brief, I'm 27 years old. My wife is 27 as well. We have 3 kids that are all under the age of 5. We're stuck. I mean, living paycheck to paycheck. I work in the oil field, and luckily now I'm in the position where they're trying to train me up to a higher position with better pay. My wife is she just took a job being a Christian principal at a Christian school.
What do you guys make?
Took a pretty significant pay cut. No more than probably about $60,000-$70,000 a year.
That was pretty vague. You don't know what you make?
I mean, from working in the oil field out here, it fluctuates quite a bit.
Oh, it varies. I got you. Okay, all right. So why did your wife take a significant pay cut if you have money problems?
The church is real small, and the Christian academy that she became the principal at is very small as well. She's working to get more students in.
Why did she take a pay cut? Why did she take a job when you all are broke? That it was a pay cut?
From our discussions, she said it felt like it was God's calling. I mean, we're very strong in our faith, and I mean, anytime God calls on us, I mean, we jump to it.
What was she doing before she moved into this role?
She was a assistant director at the Boys and Girls Club, making about $20,000 a year.
And now she's making less than $20,000?
She makes about $600 every 2 weeks. Take home about $550 after taxes.
Well, does she feel called into education or Christian education specifically?
Christian education
to that
specifically.
church.
Well, I want to challenge an assumption here that that's the only way she can do that. I certainly understand the passion here, but this has financial implications to it.
So listen, we're both strong in our faith too, and we believe God calls you to things just like you guys do.
Yeah.
But let me tell you what, he also says you need to take care of your own household first, or you're worse than an unbeliever. And he doesn't call you to do things that are perpendicular to Scripture.
Yes, sir.
And so I'm going to challenge that straight up. I mean, I'm not saying she needs to go quit her job, but you can't just throw the God card down on something that mathematically doesn't work, and now all of a sudden makes it work.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes God tells us to do that. I'm open to that idea, but that's the exception rather than the rule in the way that he interacts with us. And that's me walking with him for 50 years. So anyway, all right. So now you guys have got a $60,000, $70,000 income, and you're living paycheck to paycheck, and you're sick of that, and you're getting a raise, you think, on the oil field.
Yes, sir.
How much your raise going to be?
Right now I'm making $20 an hour, and I could be jumping up to anywhere from $75,000 to $85,000 a year. I'll be put on salary.
Well, that'd make a lot of difference.
Yes, it would.
Because that puts you guys at $100K instead of $70K.
Yes, sir.
Hee-haw. Okay. So how much debt do you have?
Right now,
how much debt do you have, Sonny?
Combined with the vehicle, it's probably about maybe $30,000.
And with the vehicle, how much is the vehicle debt?
About 18K.
Okay. All right. Well, what we'll do is I'm going to put you guys into Financial Peace University in Ramsey Plus, okay? I want you to go through the class. Do what?
I said thank you, sir.
Sure. We're going to pay for it because I've been broke and scared and not knowing what to do, just like you guys are. I know how it feels. So I want you guys to get in there and get on the written budget on the Every Dollar app, and both of you working together on that app. I want you to attack this debt with every dollar you can squeeze out of your life. No eating out, no vacations. You're broke people. You got to get out of not being broke people before you start goofing off with money again. And we're going to get you out because it's not a forever thing, and it doesn't necessarily depend on your raise, but your raise will help.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we're not going out to eat. We're not going on vacations. And if you can't turn the corner pretty quick on doing the budget and start actually making some progress, paying off some of your smaller debts, you may need to sell that car. I don't think you do, though. I think you guys getting in control and working together and sacrificing and having a written plan which will make you feel like you got a raise, I think you can turn the corner with what you got without selling the car. But if you have to sell the car to get where you can balance this out, her job pay cut may have cost you the car.
Yes, sir.
It may mean you can't afford it. I don't think so, though. I think you can make it. And I want you guys to slow down and look at the total picture of your life when God starts calling you to something. And is he calling you to a specific thing like that particular school, or is he calling you to Christian ed instead of Boys or Girls Club, or is he calling you to help out over at the church where you go that's a small church and really can't afford a principal because they're not paying a principal enough to stay above the poverty level? So maybe they need to have a lay person that's a volunteer, and your wife does this as her volunteer ministry on the side while she keeps her other job or a different job. That's another way you guys could have gotten at fulfilling that same burden that the Holy Spirit was putting on her. And I'm not doubting that God spoke to you guys about this. I'm just doubting the way it's played out and the timing of it because it's left you guys in a lurch. And my Heavenly Father's crazy about me, and he doesn't lead me into a canyon to get killed.
Yeah, I think there's a couple things. I would look at seasons. If she's got a commitment now, so if there's 2 or 3 months left in the school year, I don't know what it is in Texas, but she can fulfill her commitment, but also find a Christian education job that pays way more than what she's getting, which I think is about $1,200 a month, which will help you all. And then there may be a season of life where she does work for way less as a true ministry, but that may be a season much further down the road. I think you got to really discern and really look into that situation. Be careful how you bring it up to her. You want to honor her heart, but also go, hey, what are some other options to do what you feel called to do, but also allow us to thrive financially, because it's there. It's definitely there.
Yep, absolutely. It can just be timing, it can be process, it can be structure, and then you still fulfill the calling within a little bit of different guidelines instead of an all or nothing thing. But for today, you're there. So here's how we're going to help you. Hang on. Kelly's going to help you sign up. We're going to walk with you on this, and I want to see how God plays his hand. If you're looking for ways to update your home without blowing the budget, I've got it. For years, I've been telling you about our friends at Blinds.com. Blinds.com makes it simple to shop top quality blinds, shades, and interior shutters from home with easy online ordering and free shipping. With Blinds.com, there's no need to renovate your entire home. Just change out what's on your windows with upscale choices like faux wood blinds, cellular, and roller shades, or even outdoor shades. Plus, Blinds.com guarantees the perfect fit, whether you do it yourself or you have them measure and install everything for you. Shop their latest looks and see how much you can save at Blinds.com today. The easy and affordable way to make your home more beautiful is Blinds.com. In the lobby of Ramsey Solutions on the debt-free stage, Dennis and Christy are with us. Hey, guys, how are you?
Doing well. How are you?
Welcome, welcome. Where do you guys live?
Madison, Alabama.
Oh, down next to Huntsville.
Yep. Yes.
Just down the road a little ways here.
Yep.
So welcome to Nashville.
Thank you.
And apparently you're a house divided with an Auburn fan and an Alabama fan.
House United.
House United.
House United? What are you united in? Football?
Exactly.
Yeah. We watch each other's teams play, and when they play each other, we don't hold it against each other. If his team wins, I don't, and if my team wins, he doesn't hold it against me. So
Wow.
She's happy, I'm happy, then...
As an Alabama or Auburn fan goes, they're pretty sweet people.
Yeah. Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. There's
We
a lot of
try.
maturity as well. You guys
I mean,
figured this out.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that work at my
You're
place.
saying no trash talk at all during the game or before the game?
Well,
Very little.
yeah.
Very
Every now
little.
and then. When we first got married, there was a lot more of it, but we've gotten more accustomed to reading each other's teams on. So
There you go. You guys are great.
Thank you.
That's unusual. I love it. So, how much debt have you guys paid off?
$93,000
$92,000. How long did that take?
over 7 years.
Good for you. And your range of income during that 7 years?
90 to 120.
90 to 120. What do you guys do for a living?
I'm a software engineer.
I'm a homemaker.
All right. Very good. What kind of debt was the $92,000?
All house.
Paid off your house.
Paid off the
Yes.
house.
Look at that, weird people.
Yep.
I love it. Way to go, you two. Very good. Excellent job. What's that house worth?
Right now, according to Zillow, as accurate as that can be, $287.
All right. Very
Yes.
good. How's that feel to have a paid for everything?
Very
Excellent.
nice. The day we paid it off, we went walking in the backyard, and yes, it does feel different.
You took.
Yes.
You did what I said. You
Yes.
walk through the backyard with no shoes.
Literally.
The grass feels different when it's yours.
It does.
Absolutely.
I love it. Yep. That's good. Way to go, you guys. So what started you on this journey 7 years ago? Tell us the story.
Well, I was had a car repair that needed to be done, and they're telling me it needs some maintenance. But it was like after Christmas, I had some credit card debt at the time, and I just realized that, I told them I couldn't really afford it, and that just told me that I was doing things wrong. That's when I looked into, I got your book, read it, and realized that, yeah, there is a better way to do things.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, Christy, he comes home and goes, okay, we can't fix the car. I'm going to read a book. We're done with this. What'd you say?
I actually was, before we got married, I was in debt as well. And about a third of the debt was late charges and over limit fees. And sometimes over limit fees would then push me into having late charges because I couldn't afford to pay. What the minimum was they wanted me to pay, so I was on board.
Been there. So you were sick of that too.
Oh yes.
So whatever we got to do, we got to do. And you sat down together, started putting a plan together.
That's what we did.
Absolutely.
Wow. So impressive. And here you stand 7 years later with a paid off house.
Yes.
Wow. Way to go.
Thank you.
So how long did it take to begin to, you saw momentum, you're reading this book, right? And you're going, okay, I'm reading and I'm beginning to make some changes. Do you remember back when it began to catch hold and you both of you are going, okay, not only do we agree with it, but now we're seeing this and we get excited.
It was about 6 months.
6 months?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when we started seeing the balances going down further.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you get control. You get the sense of power over the money, over the numbers.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Good for you guys. I'm so proud of you. Very, very well done. What was the hardest part of this process for you?
For me, I think he is very much the budgeting nerd in our family. And there were times that I was impatient and wanting to buy things. And he's very, stick with the budget. It's not in the budget. We don't have the money, very.
So you're telling me that a software engineer might be a little bit nerdy and strict?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, he's very much a software
kidding.
engineer, and
No
I'm more
kidding.
like, but here's something, and sometimes it was just $100 or $2 worth of maybe like a storm door or things like that. But he's very much okay. Well, here's
the rules.
budget.
Follow the rules. Yeah.
Yes, he's very by the book.
I like it.
Yeah.
Dr. No, huh? He said no all the time.
But then finally, there were some things he said, oh, I didn't realize how inexpensive this was. And then if we had it in the budget left over, then we could do it. Then we did it. So
that works.
Just had to build the plan.
Yeah.
the plan.
Build the plan, work the plan. That's a software engineer.
Yes.
That's why.
Oh, yeah.
That's why you're successful. I like it. Build the
Exactly.
plan, work the plan. All right. What do you tell people the key to getting out of debt is? Build the plan, work the plan. What else?
That's it. Stay away from debt. Be intentional with your money. Plan your impulses.
Stay focused.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plan your impulses.
I
That's
like
a
that.
good word. What does
Yes.
that mean
I
to
like
you?
that.
Well, you can be just plan. When you want to just buy something, just make sure you have enough a line item in your budget for
True.
impulsive spending.
Yeah, nice. So you take the impulse out of impulse. We feel it, we want it,
Exactly.
but then you put a plan in place. That's pretty good.
Yeah, you plan
Thank you.
even like vacations and different things, try to build them as much as you can into the plan. Although some things that are unplanned do come up, but you do your best to try to make sure that each item in your budget has a monetary amount and fits within your income.
Yeah. Way to go, you guys.
Thank
so proud of you. Who cheered you on the most outside the two of you?
Family.
Yeah.
Okay. So your family knew what you were working on, and they said,
They
go
sure
get them.
did.
Exactly.
Good. Very cool. Very good. Good job, y'all.
Thank you.
We've got a copy of Baby Steps Millionaires, and that's definitely the next chapter in your
Thank
story.
you.
You're going to move on to that. If you hadn't already, you might be there already.
Yep.
And,
We are.
I'm sorry?
We are.
Oh, you did it. All right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I talked to you before in 2019. I just barely crossed the line, and then the pandemic happened, the pestilence, and
Yeah.
I dropped out of it, and then came in after that fall, back with a vengeance.
Okay. All right. So your investments are up over $700,000 then,
Yeah.
with a $300,000 paid for house. Touchdown.
Wow, there it is.
How old are you guys?
I turned 53 days ago.
All right.
I'm 56.
All right. You're the perfect Baby Steps millionaires. Well done.
Thank you.
How much of this money did you inherit?
We had $10,000 from a inheritance.
10,000.
Yes.
Well, I don't think you're millionaires because of that.
No.
I think you're millionaires because of the people I'm looking at in front of me. They're the secret sauce in that equation.
Thank
Well, we'll give you a copy of that. You'll read about the equivalent of yourself in there as you go along. Well done. And a copy of Total Money Makeover for you to give away and get somebody else disrupted and get them moving along like they need to. So very well done. Dennis and Christy from Madison, Alabama. $92,000 paid off in 7 years, making 90 to 120. Count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
3, 2, 1.
We're debt free.
Yeah! That's how it's done. And so let that be a lesson to you. If you want to be a millionaire, be nice to your spouse about opposing football teams.
Yeah, I mean,
I think that's a key thing.
That had to be that factor about them had to really help in the debt-free journey too, getting on the same page about a budget. If you can get along during an Alabama-Auburn Iron Bowl,
I know family members that haven't spoken in years.
I know.
That are opposite because the kid chose to go to the wrong school. I mean, that's a hateful situation. That's a hateful thing.
It is.
It's just a. I don't know of another in-state rivalry around here anyway that's quite as rough and tough as that one is. And they're just so sweet.
Yeah.
They're sweet people.
I wonder if the 6-month process of getting on the same page as a nerd and as the kind of the party personality helped them maybe bridge the gap with the football game. I don't know.
I think it was the other way around.
The other way around.
I think if you can get along about football, you can get along about anything.
Well, that's the truth. You know what? That's a good point. I fully expected during their debt-free scream to hear a little Roll Tide and War Eagle, but we didn't hear it.
Well, we'll go out here during the break and see if we can get that recorded.
Right.
Well done, Dennis and Christy. Baby step millionaires, debt-free, house and everything.
So cool.
Hey, folks, you can do this stuff. They proved it. Lots of people prove it every day. It's all about you, baby. It's all about you. This is The Ramsey Show. Coleman Ramsey personality is my co-host today as we talk about your careers, your relationships, your money, and your life. It's a free call at 888-825-5225. 888-825-5225. Connie is with us in South Bend. Hi, Connie. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Good afternoon. Me and my husband, we're in our mid-50s. We have no debt. We bring in about $150,000 a year. We currently have about $766,000 in investments, $165,000 in a profit sharing. He'll have something from Teamsters, hopefully, and then we also have 2 rental homes. Both they're $150,000 value each, and then our current house is about $250,000 in value.
Way to go!
Thank you. We have about $150,000 in cash. We have really nobody to leave anything to, and what we're looking about doing is we would like to buy some land, and we can get it at a fairly good price. We're thinking about $50,000. We want to put a pole barn on it first before we build a house. The pole barn's going to be about $150,000, and I'm guessing the house, once I get it priced out, is going to be about $600,000 to $700,000. So my whole quandary is because most of this stuff is in investments and properties and things like that. What's the best way to go about doing everything without? The only thing I was thinking was, like, if we sell one of the rental houses this year and then sell one next year so we can split the capital gains on them, and then use that money to build the pole barn. But then for the house construction, rather than doing anything with the investments, would I take a temporary mortgage out on my current home in order to build the new home? And then also, should I stop putting investments in Roth if there's really no point of keep building so much money when we really have nobody to leave anything to?
The Roth's not about leaving it to someone. The Roth's about you having it tax-free. So, yeah, you would keep putting money into the Roth. That's the last question first. But so how much money in investments do you have that's not in retirement accounts?
Only probably about 150,000. No,
Okay.
I'm sorry. That's grown. That's about 300,000.
Okay. Well, let's use that first.
Okay.
Unless you don't like the rentals.
I definitely want to get rid of the rentals because the only reason we bought them is they're next to the house we currently own, and we wanted to control our neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm too nice of a landlady. I don't hardly charge anything for them, so they're not really bringing anything in.
Well, then dump them. I'm with you. Okay.
Yep.
And they're going to bring 300, and you've already got 300. That's 600, and it sounds like you need 800.
At least, yes. That's pretty accurate.
You need 150 for a pole barn, 50 to buy the land. That's 200, and 600 to build the house is 800.
Yeah, as long as prices don't keep going up on this building.
Well, I mean that's the numbers you're giving me that we're working with. That's the numbers we have.
Yep.
Does that include the 150 in cash?
The 100.
No, that's separate.
Okay. Oh, so
that's
now you're only 150 off.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and so I think you can get really deep into this before you have to sell your house.
Okay. All right. Or even take a mortgage out on it.
I'm not taking out a mortgage on it.
Okay. I didn't want to either.
No, I'm not going to do it. So what I would do, and you said you're in your 50s?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I am 53. My husband is 55.
Okay. All right. I mean, if he gets to 59 and a half, you can access some of the retirement accounts. Here's the other thing. This is going to take a while, and so you're going to be able to, with your income, cash flow the rest of it, probably. So if you take the 150 cash, the 300 in non-retirement investments, and the 300 from the rentals, you're within 150, and you can probably cash flow that 150 out of your income between now and the time you need it.
Right.
And then move into the new house and sell the old house.
Okay.
No
and
mortgage.
Then we can use that money to reinvest.
Yeah, no mortgage.
Excellent.
And you're probably not going to touch your retirement at all.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, good.
Yeah, and you're going to end up with a $2 million net worth and a piece of property that's worth probably half of that. By then your net worth will probably be 2.5 to 3. So, the way you're going. So you're doing really good. Well done. Well done. It's just a matter of laying these things out and developing kind of a flow chart, a Gantt chart, we would call it, a logistical game plan.
Oh, nice. I've never heard that. That's a new one. I'm going to drop that in conversation and look extra smart this weekend.
Like Gantt, a Gantt chart.
Yeah. Just drop it in there.
Just leave it in there like you knew what it was. Then you have to go look it up. Yeah.
You know what my favorite part of the call was? Is they bought the 2 rental properties, not because of investments. They just don't
wanted to control
want
their
bad
neighbors.
people next to them.
Yeah.
I love that.
I have bought vacant lots next to me for this reason.
I thought you would connect to
And
that.
I have made a lot of money on vacant lots next to my house. I just sold one the other day did really well on old house I used to own.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a good buffer lots are not a bad thing. Buffer rentals I've not done, but buffer lots are not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing at all. Don's in Kansas City. Hey Don, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hey, love you guys and love the show. Thanks for having me on.
Sure. How can we help?
Well, I got a question for you. I'm 60 years old. I had to restart everything. I was at age 50. I'm getting close to being debt-free. I still have a student loan, $42,500 and some change. Currently, I'm putting 30% of my salary into a Roth. And as soft as the market has become, I was wondering if I would be better off cutting that back a little bit to, say, 15% of my salary and just attacking that student loan, so $1,500 a month at it and knock it out in 30 months and just be totally debt-free. Or
how much is in your retirement nest egg?
Like I said, I started over.
Yeah. But you've been hitting it hard.
Yeah, it's 100,000 right now. But in the past 10 years, I've paid off $172,000 worth
Good
of
for
debt.
you. What's your income, sir?
Right now, 55. In that period of time, between 40 and 55.
Okay. Good.
So I've been eating a lot of beans.
Yeah, you have.
So yeah,
you've been in recovery. You've been in recovery mode. Good for you. You're a strong guy.
Yeah.
Well, here's what we
killed
teach,
us.
Don. The shortest path to wealth is to get clear of debt first, build an emergency fund second, and then start retirement. So we would teach you to temporarily stop all investing and dump everything you can squeeze out of your entire life on that stupid student loan and get rid of it finally, because it won't go away. And then once it's gone, we take everything in the budget, make sure you have an emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of expenses. How much is in your emergency fund now?
About $7,800.
Okay. All right. I'm going to bring that down to $1,000 as baby step 1 is what we teach. And so that's going to give us $6,800 to throw through the $42,000. And then we're going to put everything, entire budget focus on that remaining $35,000. And you're going to be able to knock that out very, very quickly. It's going to be about 9 months, probably, something like that. You'll be working extra. You'll be beans and rice, rice and beans. When the student loan's gone, then go back to the $1,000 account, raise it up to a fully funded emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of expenses, and then with not a payment in the world and that nice buffer, you restart your retirement and you hit it hard. And you start building there, and you're going to be able to hit it even harder. Right now, you've got things going about 6 different directions, and they're not giving you the power that they need to give you. Hold on, I'm going to send you a copy of the book, The Total Money Makeover, to help you out. This is The Ramsey Show. Have a friend or family member that needs a daily dose of Ramsey advice in their life? Let them know about the Ramsey Call of the Day podcast. It's a quick hit of advice about life and money in under 10 minutes. Check out the Ramsey Call of the Day podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, it's The Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. Ken Coleman, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. As we talk about your career, we talk about your work, we talk about your money, we talk about your life and your relationships. Open phones at 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. As we start off this segment, I'm going to bring an old friend to the line. Mitch Albom is with us. Mitch is a 7 times #1 New York Times bestseller, and most of us were first introduced to Mitch through Maury, Tuesdays with Maury. What a wonderful book, and he's written many wonderful books since then, and has been a radio host as well, and that's where we met. I think Mitch originally was at a talk radio convention, wasn't it?
I think that's right, Dave. Yeah, how are you doing?
Good, my brother. How are you?
I'm hanging in there, thanks.
Good. A brand new book out, The Stranger in the Lifeboat, another novel, or a novel, and this one's incredible. I just started thumbing through it, and I think I'll probably read it tonight. I got a feeling I'm just going to plow right through it. It looks like a pretty... I got stuck. I mean, you open the middle of the book and you start turning pages. That's not good, right? Not good for somebody like me. I need to go back to the beginning and get the whole story, but I got a feeling of what's going on. What was the... what brought this book to your mind? Where did this creative impulse come from?
Well, I wanted to write a book about how we ask for help in this world, and particularly when we ask for help from God or the universe. And so I created this story about this luxury yacht, which has all these famous rich celebrities on it and famous people around the world. And inexplicably, out in the middle of the ocean, it blows up. And everyone's killed except 10 people, 5 of whom are the rich people and 5 of whom are the staff who serve them on the boat, and they make their way to a life raft, and they're out on this life raft for 3 days, and nobody's coming for them, and they're running out of food, and they see sharks in the water, and they're crying out for help in every which way, and suddenly they see this body floating in the water, and they pull it into the raft, and it's this young guy who's alive, a very nondescript, average-looking, skinny guy, and they pepper him with questions. He doesn't answer, and finally one of the passengers says, "Well, thank the Lord we found you." And he says, "I am the Lord." And the book takes off from there, and it explores the whole idea of, when we cry out for help, if it comes, but it's not the form we expected, because he doesn't look like a God. He doesn't talk like it. He falls asleep. He gets hungry. He eats, and they don't believe he is who he says he is. And he says, "I can save you, but only if everybody here believes I am who I say I am," and becomes a parable about, how do we accept help even if it doesn't look like what we expected.
Yeah, the whole element of faith, having faith in order for the help to be present.
Mitch Ken Coleman here. I'm curious how much of your own faith journey, two of your books, obviously with heaven in the title. I'm curious how much of your faith journey and how you believe we're supposed to respond to help and what our relationship with faith looks like. How much does it play out in this narrative?
Well, it was the impetus for it, to be honest, Ken. Personally, I operate an orphanage in Haiti that I'm at every month for the last 12 years, and I raised, along with my wife, we have 54 kids there, and one of whom we adopted a few years back when she developed a brain tumor. And we tried to save her, and for 2 years we traveled around the world trying to do so, but we weren't successful in the end, and she died when she was 7. And I was extremely angry at the world and at God and at the universe. And, I couldn't believe there's a benevolent God who wouldn't be benevolent to a 7-year-old. And it took me, the 4 years until I actually wrote this book to start to look at it as like, well, it's not what we lost, it's what we were given. And there's a moment in this book where one of the characters asks the God character, okay, well, if you're God, why do people have to die? Why did my wife died? Why did you take my wife? And the answer is, well, why do you always ask when someone dies, why did God take them? Maybe a better question would be, why did God give them to you? What did we do to deserve or merit their attention, their love, all the memories that they gave us? I know that you cry when your loved ones die here on earth, but I can assure you they're not crying. And, I wrote that as a character for the book and as a line in the book, but I kind of wrote it to myself, Ken, because that's sort of the attitude that I had to sort of adopt and say, wait a minute, why am I blaming God for taking her instead of giving God credit for letting us have her, even for the few years we had her, which were the most glorious years of our life. And we may be crying, but she's not crying where she is. So, yeah, a lot of my own kind of thoughts and things that I've bumped along the way on my life have found their ways into the characters in this book.
You have done really well with a God-given talent that you've worked so hard to develop to weave a story around something that puts a knot in my stomach and in my throat. I remember crying like a 12-year-old when I was reading Tuesday with Maury.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. And, of course, that book was not fiction, correct?
Right, that's correct. That was a true story.
Yeah, and but I mean, still the storytelling ability that you've had, and a lot of people don't know you from the book world, that you're a famous sports writer as well, and so you definitely have an ability with words, an ability to weave a story. But I'm a storyteller. Ken's a storyteller. We speak and communicate for a living, but you are unusually talented at telling a gripping, heart-grabbing story. Congratulations on another big hit. Mitch Albom, The Stranger in the Lifeboat is the brand new book. I assume it's out now?
Oh, yeah. It came out in November, and knock wood, it's done very, very well. It seems that after COVID, I think a lot of people were asking for help and maybe not getting it in the form that they wanted. And all I can say to that is, when we don't think our prayers are being answered, and we say, God's not paying attention to me, think of how many times you think something's bad, and then 5-10 years later, you look back on it and you say, at the time it was terrible, but if that hadn't happened, then this wouldn't have happened, and I wouldn't have met this person, and I wouldn't have gotten married. And so I guess in hindsight, it was the best thing that could have happened to me. Well, if it's the best thing that could have happened to you 10 years from now, it is the best thing that can happen to you now. It's just that, we all want everything on our plates right now, like we're ordering fast food. And we can't always understand the way God or the universe works. But usually, if you take the long view, most of the things you really want in life, are answered and in some way, form. And I know they have been for me, and I hope that's what people can get from Stranger in the Lifeboat.
Very good stuff. Again, the book, The Stranger in the Lifeboat, the newest novel from Mitch Albom, 7 times #1 best-selling author, and author of the famous book, Tuesdays with Morrie, which if you have not read, you need to get that on the list as well. Just pick up both of them while you're at it. It'll give you something to do. So, Mitch, good to talk to you, my friend. Congratulations on all your success.
Thank you, Dave. Good to hear your voice again. Thank you, Ken. You guys have a great day.
Come visit when you're in Nashville, my brother. All right, Mitch Albom, The Stranger in the Lifeboat. Be sure and check it out. This is The Ramsey Show. If you're not using Pure Talk for your wireless, you're paying too much. Pure Talk gives you the same great 5G coverage on the same 5G network as one of the big guys for half the cost. The average family saves over $800 a year. Go to puretalk.com and choose the affordable plan that's right for you. With their 30-day risk-free guarantee, you have nothing to lose. Go to puretalk.com and enter the promo code Ramsey to save 50% off your first month. Okay, married people, imagine never having another money argument. Whoa. What would that feel like? How much better would your marriage be? What about your whole family? When you get on the same page with money, you'll have more peace in your finances and your marriage. And here's the best part. You can do it by joining a Financial Peace University class. You'll learn how to make a budget together, sounds like Valentine's, and follow our proven money plan so you can stop fighting about money, start chasing your goals as a team. Millions of couples have gone through this class, and they say it's one of the best things they ever did for their marriage, and it can be for you too. So decide today that you're ready to get on the same page with your spouse about money. Join a Financial Peace University class. You can get started with a free trial. Visit RamseySolutions.com/FPU. That's RamseySolutions.com/FPU. This is The Ramsey Show. Ken Coleman is my co-host today. He is the host of The Ken Coleman Show, where he talks about career, talks about work, and talks about your work life. His #1 best-selling book, Paycheck to Purpose, is out there zooming. We had it come out last fall. It's done extremely well. He's here to answer your questions about life and money, and so am I. So you jump in and we'll talk. The phone number is 888-825-5225. Joanna is with us in St. Louis. Hi, Joanna. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. How are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
I feel like the question needs a little backstory. I'm super new to all this. I started listening to the podcast a couple weeks ago and read the book that had been sitting around collecting dust. My husband's job cut overtime suddenly, which is about $20,000 a year for us, and we just went into absolute panic mode. So I read the book. In our snow days, we had 3 days where we got snowed in, and I read the entire book cover to cover, and I got really excited and hopeful and serious about it. And he is not so much on the same page. He's super defeated at his job. He hates his job. He's miserable. He feels like there's some coercion to do some medical procedures that he's not interested in, and just a lot of bullying in general. And what he really wants to do is be a law enforcement officer, which is a total career shift and would require, going to a special school and not working while he does that. And I'm trying to translate all this information to him, and he just hears me and says, that's stupid. Credit is necessary. That is necessary. We need to buy a house sooner than later. He wants to leave the city and buy a house in Springfield. There's all these pieces, and I think his anxiety is so high about his job situation that he just can't hear me. And I wondered if you had any advice about kind of the best way to get through to him, because I think this could really shift everything for us. Sorry, I'm feeling a little emotional.
That's okay.
Sure. Joanna, let me ask you very quickly, what does he do now? What is his job?
So he works in loan operations, finance.
Okay.
So, yeah, he's kind of the back end of an agricultural loan company, a huge one.
And what's his salary, or what's his earning now that he's lost that $20,000 in overtime?
He's at about 40,000, and with my 3 jobs, I'm coming in right under 40 as well.
Okay.
So we were doing a little better, but we have all the stupid debt. We have like 15,000 in credit cards. We have 8,000 left on our car. We have some phone payments and student loans. I didn't actually realize how bad it was until I totaled it all this week, which was alarming. But he's a little bit more spendy than I am. I would say we both swipe the credit and debit card too often, but this is just so overwhelming for him. And I don't think he finds me to be a credible source, because I tend to get excited about things and go all in and then maybe not finish them, which is my own weakness that I'm working on.
Okay. Well, there's a lot going on here at one time. It's not a simple.
Yeah.
It's not a simple. The light is switches off, flip the switch on. It's
Right.
a whole lot of things happening. Sounds also like there's babies in the background.
Yeah, I'm a nanny, so we're on a walk. This is the only time.
That's okay. That's okay.
you.
I'm just making sure I didn't know what was.
It's one of her 3 jobs.
Okay.
I have a 10-year-old, so that's a piece of the puzzle as well. She has some special needs, so definitely a lot going on.
Okay. Yeah, I think when you're home and he's home and the baby's in bed, we turn off the television, and I think you just tell him not what you guys are doing wrong and not how excited you are about what you read in the Total Money Makeover, but how scared you are.
Okay.
I'm scared. And I'm scared that if we keep spending and we keep using credit like we've been doing, it's never worked. It's gotten us in this mess. We've never been able to move out of the mess. Everything gets bad as soon as it gets tight. And I don't see you being able to go and live your new career as long as we're financially strapped. And so I want you to be able to do that. And I don't want to be afraid anymore. And the only way I can see to do those 2 things, me to not be afraid, and you to not be overwhelmed with and anxious, and you to be able to move to a different career, is for us to get a detailed game plan, a financial game plan to get there. Because if we didn't have any debt and we had some money in savings, we could talk a lot more about you moving into a different career. But right now we can't even breathe, and you can't breathe, and I can't breathe, and I'm scared. Instead of you accusing him of being the spender, or accusing him of not getting it, or you've got to get on the same page, or you have to read this book, or instead of those things, I think you draw him into this conversation, because everything I heard in the whole conversation, this man loves his wife.
He absolutely does.
Yeah. And if he's not being attacked by his wife, instead she's saying, help me, this is a guy who will come to her rescue.
Yeah, I think I tend to be the positive one in all circumstance, and so he sees me a little bit delusional when things are overwhelming. I guess I'm always worried that coming to him and saying that I'm scared or feeling hopeless is going to just pile on top of him.
Well, I think he can handle it.
Yeah. Also understand, Joanna, he's very discouraged right now, and you mentioned that, but he's very discouraged. And to the extent that you can lift him by saying he has no control over his company cutting overtime, and I would throw a practical encouragement in here. If I were talking to your husband right now, the path to him being a law enforcement officer, besides paying off the debt and getting financially stable, is the hottest job economy we've seen in the history of this country. And because of his loan, finance experience, and skill set, he needs to be looking at it as a bridge to pay off the debt as getting a better job in the finance sector. That's the next step, more income. He's going to feel better about himself, and you're bringing in more income.
And you get out of that place because that place is killing him.
Yeah.
So I think,
It really is.
Yeah. And I think you just start talking about, listen, if you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting what you've been getting.
It's true.
Something's got to change. And so the only thing I know to do is continue to try to talk about it in this setting. And if you can't get some kind of movement and some kind of agreement, if he's going to sit in a corner, then you've got to seek some help. You guys got to seek some marriage counseling, sit down with your pastor and start trying to get somebody to speak life over the two of you and get this thing moving, because it's all swirling so fast around you. It's all spun up and out of control. I can hear it in your voice. And the good news is I know when you guys get on a game plan, that you can do this. So hold on, we're going to send you a copy of Ken Coleman's book for your husband, From Paycheck to Purpose, and we're going to put you guys into Financial Peace University, and Kelly's going to sign you up for that in Ramsey Plus. I'll give you everything you need to turn this around, but then you guys got to go do it.
Still on baby step number 1, eh?
How'd you guess?
With healthcare costs rising, learn how Christian Healthcare Ministries can help you make the most out of your budget. Visit chministries.org/budget.
Don't worry, it's worth it.
Ken Coleman, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Author of the #1 bestseller, From Paycheck to Purpose. In the lobby of Ramsey Solutions on the debt-free stage, Patrick and Chelsea are with us. Hey, guys, how are you?
Fantastic. Hey, Dave. Hey, Ken.
Welcome. Where do you guys live?
Just north of Austin, Texas.
Oh, fun. Well, welcome to Nashville. Good to have you. And all the way here to do a debt-free scream. How much have you paid off?
$265,000.
Woo! How long did that take?
Just under 6 years.
Good for you. And your range of income during that time?
Around 85 to around 175, and this year will be north of 200.
Wow. Nice job. What do y'all do for a living?
So I'm in education sales for a data and analytics company, and Chelsea works harder than I do. She stays at home with these 3 kids.
Oh, okay. All right. So the data sales business is going better and better and better.
It's a good time for that.
Absolutely. Good for you, man. So I'm going to guess and say with that amount of money and that number of years that's the house?
Yes, it is.
You paid off your house! Talking to weird people! How old are you two?
I am 39.
And I'm 44.
And you have a paid-for house.
We got a paid-for house.
You're weird.
Feels good.
I love you. You're awesome, man. So very cool. Good for you. Good for you. So what starts you guys on a paid-off house journey 6 years ago.
Boy, I tell you what, it starts a long time ago. So I remember sitting in the church around 2001 watching a video, a Financial Peace video, maybe a live event. And we were dating at the time. And I started talking to her. I said, Chelsea, if we're going to get married, we need to think about this. And so we started talking about this.
And she said, wait, get married?
She said, what? Wait a minute.
I don't know about all this.
Get married? What?
And so fast forward, we got married. We paid off our student loan. We bought this house about little over 6 years ago with a goal of paying it off in 15 years. 15-year fixed rate mortgage. We said maybe we could do it in 10. And we had some good things happen. We had some challenges along the way. And what do you know? Almost 6 years later, and here we are.
Wow. You guys fit the template exactly. I mean, the typical person going through Total Money Makeover, Financial Peace, they get their home paid off in about 7 years. It's not unusual at all. Well done. Whoop, 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 whoop. What's this house worth?
Boy, it's gone high now. It's about $615.
Oh, and you've been investing all this time.
We have been.
So you're your baby steps millionaires then.
So I don't want them to hear that. But yes, we are. Yes, we are.
It's a secret. Yeah, there's no way you're not. That's awesome. Way to go.
Thank you.
Well done. How much have you got in investments?
We've got around 450 right now in investments.
All right, so you're bumping $1.2 million, $1.3 million then.
That's
done.
Thank you.
I love it. That's what happens when you're sitting in church.
Yes. It's one of the benefits.
I like it.
So I love to hear the story. And everybody just heard Dave say, this is on track. You guys are right on track, a little bit ahead of the average there. But it's interesting that you set out for the 15-year, and then you're like, I think we can do it 10. And then I think we can do it sooner than that. You end up doing it, really in 6 years. So what happens emotionally? I'd love for the audience to hear from you all. What happens as you begin to see that momentum and you realize we can get there faster?
I think something that was cool for me was our kids got old enough to realize what was happening, and they really pushed us. Like, they were getting involved. They were wanting to be a part of it. And for me, it was not just, okay, we're going to do this in 15 years. We're going to just do, it was
grind it out.
My 12-year-old knows what a mortgage is, and that I didn't know what a mortgage was. I don't even know if I knew what one it was in college. So it's crazy that she's talking about our mortgage and and not having one anymore. Yeah. And so you were going to say something, sorry.
No, I was going to say, in 2015 in December, I lost my job, and it was a scary time. And thankfully, we had a fully funded emergency fund in place. And thankfully, I have this incredible wife beside me that has encouraged me and supported me. Dave, I'm married way up. She's an incredible woman. I'm so blessed to be here standing beside her today. But she supported me, and we clawed out of that situation. And, 6 years later, we saw the hope. We saw we could do it. We started to believe. And as we got closer, these kids started getting involved. They started getting excited to see the look on their faces and to realize we have an opportunity to change their family tree. They've been a part of the giving as we've gone through this, and it's exciting. It's exciting to see where we've come from and where we can go.
Wow. And I think what happens too, and you tell me if I'm wrong, because sometimes people say, oh, well, the math you use just doesn't work. And I always tell people, because the math we use always works, because it's never the way you map it out. Mm-hmm. Because when you mapped out paying that house off in 10 years or 11 years, you did that at your income at that time. That's right. You didn't anticipate in that math that your income was going to go, from 85 to 185. Hello? And so, you can look at that and you go, oh, we ought to be able to put a bigger, and a little more, and a little more, and all of a sudden you're going, we're going to knock this out. And you start to see the math, and it's a weird thing, but there's actually hope in math.
Yes, yes, that's right. What's interesting too is I hope people hear this. The kids got involved because you were letting them see it, hear it, and then they begin to get involved, and that gave you some extra juice is what I'm hearing.
It really did. They've been asking for 3 years. When are we going to pay off the house? When are we going to pay off the house?
When are we going to Nashville?
We've been able. That's come up many times. I can tell you. They've wanted to come here for a long, long time. So this is a highlight for us and a highlight for them. But they've been excited. They've been, throughout this with Give, Save, and Spend. They've been a part of it. They've sat down. They've seen us budget, and they've wanted to be here. And so it's really been fun to see their spirit, to see them change, and see the things that we can do. We were able to give some money at Christmas, and they were able to be a part of that. And so it's really fun to see the excitement in their eyes.
Does change your family tree. not just the math parts, not just the fact that we have some wealth, but the kids are changed. They're different than, like she said, you didn't know what a mortgage was in college, but now I got a 12-year-old knows we don't have one. That's pretty cool. That's a changing your family tree. That's what that means. That's how you do it. And this is how rich people handle their money, is they teach their kids about money. And they teach them about the importance of wealth, and they teach them about the responsibility around it. And that's what this whole family's doing. They're incredible. Well, you guys are rock stars. Yeah. This is absolutely powerful.
Thank you.
So proud of you.
Thank you, Dave. I'll say that I want to give glory to God, because we never thought this was possible. We didn't know how we were going to do it. We had a goal, and God's been faithful. He has blessed us beyond all we could imagine. And we are just so thankful for you and your team and the opportunity to be here today.
We're thankful for you, man. You guys are why we're here. So powerful. Blessed. This is so fun. Well, we've got a copy of your autobiography, Baby Steps Millionaires, and I give you a copy of that, and you can share that with friends and family that don't think it can be done, because lots of people are actually doing this. Lots and lots and lots of them are doing this, and now a #1 bestseller. So also a copy of Total Money Makeover for you to give away and stir someone up and get them started on the whole process, because you can't keep from talking about it once you have a little bit of success in this. Not to brag, but to brag on what God has done, and to brag on his principles work, and to brag on this cause and effect thing, that when you plant corn, you grow corn. Yeah, you guys are amazing. Well done. Very well done. All right, let's bring the kiddos in. What are their names and ages?
So McKenna is 12.
That's McKenna.
Miranda is 10. And Mabry is 1.
All right, go Mabry. Valentine.
She got the Valentine jammies on.
Yeah, we're ready. All right, Patrick and Chelsea and the team from Austin, Texas. $265,000 paid off in 6 years, making 85 to 175, and Baby Steps Millionaires. Count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
3, 2, 1.
We're debt-free! Since that 12-year-old was 6, they've been talking about this. Boom!
That's legacy, Dave.
Boom!
Yes.
That's how you do it right there, man. That's exactly how you do it. And that's why we come down here every day. Man, powerful stuff. The point for you watching and you listening is you too can do this. That wasn't an easy trip they've been on. It was just a trip worth taking. Yes. This is The Ramsey Show. Ken Coleman, Ramsey personality, host of the Ken Coleman Show, where we talk about careers and work, is my co-host today. We're taking your calls about your work, your career, your money, your relationships. It's all right here on The Ramsey Show. The phone number is 888-825-5225. Michael is with us in Morristown, New Jersey. Hey, Michael, what's up?
Hi, Dave and Ken. How are you guys?
Great, man. How can I help?
So, student loan question again. No surprise there. I'm 26 years old, and I believe that I have a student loan from my first year at college before I had transferred, and private school, expensive, and so this student loan was taken out under my mother's name. It's not, and no attachment to me, nothing on my credit score or anything for that, and after seeing how expensive this private school was, I had transferred out and everything, and then the rest of my college was cash flowed. So, it's under her name, and after all that, I see that it is about $50,000 in student loans. And what they had, my mother and my father had told me, was they had half of that in cash, but then we still have this loan. And if that's true, that's great, but I don't want them to be dealing with this loan if it's mine for my school. I just wanted to know your guys' opinion on that.
Okay, sounds like it's a Parent Plus loan.
I think it might be,
Yeah,
but
and that's the only way you can take out a student loan for your kid. Otherwise it would be in your name. What do you make, Michael?
I make $75,000.
Okay, good. What do you do for a living?
I am a financial analyst.
Good. What debt do you have other than this issue?
Other than this, nothing actually. I'm recently engaged, and we're trying to also cash flow a wedding and buy a house. But right now, my fiance and I are actually living with my parents.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. When do you get married?
Next July.
A year from July?
Yes, 2023.
Okay. All right. All right. So it doesn't sound like you can mathematically address this issue today anyway.
Right. So I think I might be able to, because I do have about $30,000 saved up for just in my bank account right now, and then also have about $20,000 in 401k.
Well, you can't really access the 401k, as you know.
Right, unless I get hit with a huge tax break, but like that's...
Well, no, you have to quit your job. You can't cash out a 401k while you still work there.
Well, these are from prior jobs prior companies that I was with.
Okay, yeah, you would get hammered with taxes, and I would not suggest that under any circumstances. So, but you told me you're trying to cash flow a wedding.
Yes, that as well.
And where's that money coming from?
Also coming from working between my fiance and I, yes.
And what does she make?
She makes about 60.
Okay. All right. Well, your parents are not bothering you about it. You're just worried that you might accidentally be shirking your responsibility, even though it's never really been stated one way or the other in your family. The issue of responsibility between you and your mom and dad is not real clear. Legally, it's not yours, but morally, they haven't said they expected you to, and you haven't really talked about it.
Right. So actually, right before COVID and these interests were, deferred, I was making some payments on it, and with what that was and what the interest wasn't much to it. And then I haven't made a payment to that one since. So
what does the discussion with your parents sound like? You randomly paying payments on something they think they owe?
Not even that they think they owe. It is for me, and they had mentioned that they would also help with that, but they haven't helped with that yet. And again, morally, I'd love to take care of that because it was for my school, I believe. So, that's
okay. I thought you were asking if you should take care of it. You've already made the decision.
I made a decision. Yeah, of course. Morally, I'd love to take care of it.
Okay. Well, then you just put it in your lineup. You got a wedding, and you got a student loan, and you got a house purchase. I'll help you with this. The house purchase is down the line past the other two. The wedding's probably in front, and then we'll address the student loan.
Okay.
Sounds like you need to cash flow the wedding, get the budget together, and put that money in the wedding account. Boom, boom. Ken, what are you seeing? Am I missing something?
Yeah, I agree. I think you've got this $30,000 set aside. So how much of that are you planning to use for the wedding? Or do you think you can cash flow your part of the wedding cost from your paycheck?
Or is mom and dad going to put up $25K that they've still got set aside, half of it? That was mentioned earlier in the conversation. You put up $25K and call it a day. You're done.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping we can end up doing, as long as we both agree on that now. But again, like I was saying, morally, I would just feel like this was for my school. I should take.
Well, it's okay for mom and dad to pay for part of your school.
Right.
That's not immoral. I paid for my kids' school, 100% of it. They didn't pay for any of it. I saved up. They had a college fund. They went to college. And if your mom and dad had $25,000 to put towards your college, And in this situation, the way that manifests itself is it goes towards this loan, and then you pick up the rest of your college, you cash flowed it, and you've knocked the other $25,000 of this out. You have done nothing morally or ethically wrong. Now, does that mean your mom and dad can't eat next week if they do that?
No, it definitely does not mean that.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to sit down and have a real clear conversation with them and your fiance sitting at the table, and all four of you at dinner table, and just say, hey, I want to do what's right here. I feel like I owe this. At one time you said you wanted to put up 25. If you want to do that towards my education and I put up 25, we can call this a day. The stupid loan's gone, and then we'll sit down and budget for the next year and a half and be ready for this wedding.
Yep. Okay, I think that's a great idea.
And then once you're married, we'll worry about a house. But I ain't worried about a house right now at all. You got plenty of time on
This
that.
is a conversation with mom and dad. What are they willing to do? And if they're not, and if they're kicking the can down the road, then he's got to take, the lead on it.
Well, and your fiance doesn't need to hold this against them for the next 30 years because it was unclear. So it's good for her to sit at the table too.
I agree. I like that.
Lots of just play all the cards face up on the table. Lots of clarity.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of fuzziness around the edges of what you all think about this, and it's kind of unsaid things.
And you know what the danger of that, Dave, is when everybody is got their own thought on clarity, but no one is uniformly clear. We're not all clear together. We start to fill in that gap with our own thoughts. But the feelings get in there. It's like, whoa. Let's make sure everybody knows what we're thinking, and then that clarity provides the beautiful boundaries and a plan.
Clarity is usually feels awkward.
Mm-hmm.
Feels stressful, feels almost like conflict.
That's right.
But it actually avoids more relational problems than it creates.
Mm-hmm.
And so lots of real clear, calm, kind, noble conversation. Listen to what the other side's saying, and this is what, and then come to a conclusion that this is the plan. And then this is what we're going to do. And then there's no you don't have to worry about it again.
That's exactly
it's over.
Right.
It's just a matter of execution then.
Yes.
And so we come into alignment, we level set, whatever all these phrases we throw around out here is. But I mean, this thing on clarity, it's the unsaid is just devastating in this type of relationship. And folks, this is the reason you don't do these loans, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
You get everybody all twisted up like a freaking pretzel.
Yeah.
I mean, it just messes with relationships.
So true.
Yeah. Loan, you want to lose a friendship? Loan your friend money.
Ooh.
The old joke is if you don't want your brother-in-law to speak to you, if you loan your brother-in-law $100 and he never speaks to you again, was it worth it? That's the old joke, right? I love my brother-in-laws, but
everywhere across America, people are going, well, I think I'm going to make a small loan to my brother-in-law.
So I think I got a plan for Valentine's here.
No, don't do that, please.
No, that's not.
Please.
But I mean, the point is, it puts stress on everything.
It does.
And there's all this fuzz in the air. And that's what we're hearing here. You can feel it. So lots of clarity, crisp, clear, precise, and then execute. This is The Ramsey Show.
It's Kelly, associate producer and phone screener for The Ramsey Show. If you would like to do your debt-free screen live on the show, make sure you visit theramseyshow.com and register. We would love for you to come to Nashville and tell Dave your story.
This is The Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, it's The Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. Ken Coleman, Ramsey personality, best-selling author of the book Paycheck to Purpose, is my co-host. As we talk about your work, we talk about your relationships, your jobs, your money, your life, all right here in front of you. Open phones at 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. 225. New jobs report out, where the jobs are, all in one chart. Very interesting. Explosion in January jobs in, guess what? Leisure and hospitality.
Yeah, so if you look at the top three categories, first of all, 450,000 jobs, nobody predicted that one. Right, because we were still hearing things of Omicron spreading, and so what's
450,000 new jobs taken.
450,000 new jobs
were taken.
Yes,
in the month of January.
Yeah, a big spike. And so if we look at where those are broken down, leisure and hospitality, 151,000 of those. So clearly, what's happening is we've got restaurants are reopening in some states across the country. Some are staffing back up due to restrictions coming down. I mean, that's just the reality. We're seeing in a lot of states, depending on, we're not getting into politics, but that is how this is divided. And so as states are opening up, so is the leisure and hospitality industry. And so they're staffing up. Obviously, professional and business services, that's just a fancy way of saying small businesses, corporations, businesses are hiring. That was the second highest amount of jobs, 86,000. And then this is interesting. The third highest was retail, 61,000. So we're seeing slowly the thawing across the country as it relates to restrictions and kind of the traditional economy. And so we're seeing retail, which has been hit very hard during the pandemic, seeing those jobs being added. It's very interesting. And then final piece, transportation and warehousing. This is good for manufacturing. Specifically, Dave, we've seen a big supply chain problem. Maybe you've seen it in your grocery stores, depending on where you're listening and viewing from. But truckers, there's a need as of November of 2021, they needed 80,000 truckers to fully staff up on the supply chain. 7,500 truckers were added in the month of January. So it's kind of a snapshot of not just what's happening, but where the opportunities are for people. Let's just be real, you need a bigger shovel. You need to add that second or third job. This is where people are hiring.
From an economics standpoint, in just the movement and the disruption of labor, the pandemic was dramatically unfair to those who could least afford it. Servers, hotel maids,
hourly wage earners were hit hard.
People working retail. None of these are super high-paid gigs, by and large. Not none of them, but most of them aren't. And they were inordinately the hardest hit because those were the people that got completely shut down. And now that medical freedom is coming back and people are free to, in some states it's been for quite a while and some it's just now a brand new thing, to reopen and travel and stay in a hotel and go to a restaurant. Now we've got states that's still virtually impossible to do. But the thing I was hearing at first is that they couldn't get them to come back to work.
That's true.
So I'm wondering if this surge in leisure and hospitality, as an example, is the fact that the freaking unemployment just ran out.
Yeah, well,
they had to go back to work.
Yeah. Well, we've got a very
magically they went back to work when there's no more unemployment.
That's right. That's part of it. But we're also seeing that the pandemic itself spun off a whole bunch of jobs that didn't exist pre-pandemic. So when you're watching the news, folks, and you hear this, well, we've got this employment gap. We've got more jobs available. It's about 10.3 million versus people who are unemployed. We're now getting into the low 8s. We're steamrolling towards a 3%, Dave. You're going to see unemployment rate in the 3s very soon. So,
which is by far below real employment. We're in a deficit.
Yeah. So what's going on? Couple things. More jobs have been created that didn't exist pre-pandemic. A lot of health services job. You have a lot of support staff that are being hired to support doctors and nurses. That's one example of where hospitals have staffed up. Now, the other thing that we've seen, Dave, is that more people are starting businesses in the pandemic. If they were laid off or furloughed, or maybe they stayed with it, but they got some stimulus money and they wanted to start that side hustle. As you know, and we teach this entrepreneurship all the time in EntreLeadership, the barrier for entry is lower than it has ever been in the United States to start a business. So we're seeing on the rolls now more companies have been started. So
they not only started a business, didn't go back to the job.
They didn't go back.
But they also now need to hire people.
They do.
That's added even more jobs.
So you think about the person who is making an hourly wage as a waitress or maybe working at a night shift at a hotel. Okay, so you're looking at, I'm just ballparking this, but this is somewhere between a $10 to maybe $12 an hour job. So they can now...
Pre-pandemic.
Yeah. So now
it's $22.
It has jumped. However, they went out and said, hey, I can replace that and I don't have to work the crazy hours. Weekends, and put up with crazy people at your local chain restaurant. These are the restaurants, by the way, that have struggled the most. Your faster food services. For instance, Stacey and I, we went to a lovely dinner locally with my in-laws and my brother and sister-in-law this weekend. We went to a 5-star restaurant. Let me tell you something. They haven't struggled at all, other than the initial shutdown.
But the servers in there are making bank.
Because it's a great experience and the food's great.
And the services make the servers
are making
great
bank, money.
Yeah.
Because people want to go to a high-end experience and have great food. If you look at the chain restaurants, you just looked at human behavior, that's where we saw less traffic and things kind of contract. So all that said, we've seen a great entrepreneurship explosion. We're seeing the tip of it. Over the next 6 months, I think you're going to see a record amount of business starts. In fact, we already know from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, applications to start businesses, the highest rate it's ever been.
So the Supreme Court mandate comes out, and the Supreme Court comes aside and sets the Biden mandate aside for vaccines. Mm-hmm. So companies like ours at Ramsey, if you want to get a vaccine, you can. Mm-hmm. But we're not going to interfere in your medical freedom. You get to decide. Mm-hmm. We don't make you do anything with your medical freedom, one way or the other.
That's right.
And so companies like ours are hiring like crazy, and people are leaving these companies that are clamping down on taking their medical freedoms and coming to companies like ours.
Yep.
So we're still seeing that great resignation move. Some of it is associated with the medical freedom issue. Mm-hmm. Some of it is associated with just this waking up and I hate my job and life's too short and the pandemic reminded me someday I'm going to die.
That's right. And one other thing that we've seen happen. Companies, because you saw the hourly wage go up with Target, Walmart, Amazon leading the way. Here's what's happening. People are leaving their jobs, record pace. 20 million people have left their jobs over the last 5 months. It's going to continue. Why? Because there's a great kind of arms race with companies. They're enticing people with signing bonuses and bigger salaries, and that's going to catch up to people. However, if you need a bigger shovel and you're in the Ramsey tribe, go get it.
Yeah.
Go get it now.
Yeah.
It's not going to last forever.
Because it's not, house prices aren't going to be this, and job prices aren't going to be this white hot forever. Supply-demand curves always shift one way or the other. They never stay exactly where they are. And that includes the supply of labor.
That's correct.
This is The Ramsey Show.
If you're considering a career in technology, I recommend Bethel Tech, and I'm not alone. Here's what Brendan said. Before Bethel Tech, I was driving Uber. Within 4 months of graduating, I got a job paying $60,000. About 2 years after that, I got a remote job that pays me $130,000. All thanks to what I learned at Bethel Tech. You could be next. Get started today at BethelTech.net and get $1,000 to $2,500 off of your tuition. Again, it's BethelTech.net/Ken Coleman.
Open phones this hour. Ken Coleman, Ramsey personality, is my co-host. Thanks for joining us. Tax season is upon us. I know. Try to contain your excitement.
Sorry, Dave. I have the doggy bag here for just a moment.
My stomach. No one likes their taxes, especially when you realize what the big software companies are up to. Every year, these companies lure you in by saying you can file your taxes for free. And then when you're knee-deep in the filing process, they sucker punch you with upcharges, offers to get into debt, and credit card pitches. Somehow I think you got sold. There's a better way to do it. It's called Ramsey Smart Tax. This is our online tax filing software. With Ramsey Smart Tax, you get all the deductions, all the forms, and every tax break you deserve. And the best part is the price. Ours is already much lower than the leading competitor, and there won't be hidden fees. Plus, this year, you'll have a promo code that'll make it truly free to file your federal taxes. Go to RamseySolutions.com/tax to get your promo code and file without surprises. RamseySolutions.com/SmartTax. I said it wrong. /SmartTax. And, by the way, if you're a Ramsey Plus member, and thousands, millions of you are, you can use the Ramsey Smart Tax to file for free as well. So it's out there. We're just trying to help you. And if you want to hear about the people that begin with a T, and it sounds like turbo, you want to hear about them, just listen to George Camel on the Fine Print broadcast where he exposes the scams that are out there, and you'll have a whole new view on the innocuous little turbo. All right. Erica is with us in Cincinnati. Hi, Erica. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, Dave. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
Yeah, so I was given a trust fund when I was 13. I'm now 26, and I have about $300,000 in that trust fund for emergencies and other necessities. I have $250,000 in a savings account, and then currently my husband and I have a $142,000 mortgage with a 2.5% interest rate and a combined income of about $80,000. We plan on going to the mission field in the next 3 to 5 years, if the Lord wills. And so I'm wondering if I should pay off the house now, if we have the money in the savings accounts to do so, and then rent it out as a mission house while we're away, or continue paying our mortgage and just sell the house when we leave. I'm just also wondering what to do with the money moving forward. I opened a Roth IRA last year, and we have about $40,000 in crypto investments. We have no kids, but we hope to someday. I just don't want to waste this money. I want to be a good steward of the resources God has given me, but it just seems irresponsible for me to pay interest.
Very good for you. Yeah, I would pay off the house for sure. And then you can decide when you go on the mission field if you want to keep it as a rental or you want to sell it and use that money to invest and live off of the investment. Either way, you could live off the rental investment, or you could live off the same amount of money from the sold house into a mutual fund investment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, either way would work.
Yeah, I work for a property management company, and they say absolutely not to potentially paying off my house. They think it's nuts to consider.
Well, yeah, I know, but they're not as wealthy as you are.
Right.
They're not. The person you work for doesn't have the same net worth you do.
Right.
You're wealthier than they are. And so, I don't really care when broke people don't like your financial plan, that's usually a good sign.
Why? Is there something that you would do specifically with it?
I'm sorry, I lost you. You dropped the phone or something.
Am I doing everything good so far?
You dropped the phone or something. I lost you. Where'd you go? Okay. Yeah, that's what I would do. I would pay off the house. It's that simple. Paul is with us. Paul is in Springfield, Massachusetts. Hi, Paul. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, Dave. Hi, Ken.
Hey, what's up?
Quick question for you. I'm on my church's finance committee, and we're going to be having a capital campaign fundraiser coming up for a new social center. And in Massachusetts, the marijuana industry is now legal. And so I've been thinking about what is your thoughts on receiving donations or soliciting donations from someone who, makes their living from that industry? And is it something that we should consider or not consider? I know you always say money is neither moral or immoral. And even though I'm against it, should I not care about it, or should I care about it?
Well, who are you talking about, just walking out in the community and knocking on doors, or are these people in your church?
There are people in the church. They're in the church.
Okay, so you have a guy that sells pot legally that goes to your church.
Right.
Does he tithe or give?
I do not know that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What is your church's spiritual stand on this in the community?
I think we're against it. but then I sort of say, well, if it was a liquor store, which, I'm not a big drinker at all, but, I don't think we'd have any problem with that. So then I'm like, is it just, am I trying to be overthinking it or not overthinking it?
Well, I both are certainly legal in your state, okay? The question is how you all perceive it as a church, okay? From a spiritual viewpoint, if your pastor stands up in the pulpit and preaches against drinking under any circumstances, then even though a liquor store is legal, you shouldn't take money from them. That would be hypocritical. Agreed?
Right.
And if he stands up in the pulpit and says, even though marijuana is now legal, we don't think it's good. We think that, smoking pot, getting high is a sin. I don't think you ought to do that. Then, taking money from the local weed store is hypocritical. Right?
Yeah, that's what I was
now,
thinking.
If your pastor's ambivalent about it, and your pastor and the spiritual leaders, the deacons, the elders, however your church is governed and structured from a spiritual standpoint, if they're ambivalent about it and they put pot in the same category as liquor, then and you're not you don't have an issue from a spiritual standpoint. If we wouldn't call it sin, okay, then for instance, the church that I go to, alcohol is not something that is preached against. Obviously in moderation, but having a glass of wine or a glass of bourbon or something like that, our pastor does not scream and yell and get red in the face about it, okay? And so that church receiving tithes from the local liquor store would not be a problem, at the church that I attend, as an example. Okay, but if you went to a church that had that stance, that they're going to receive the money is hypocritical. So I think you need to establish where you all stand on this issue, and then that will tell you spiritually where you stand, and that will tell you whether to take the money or not. Make sense?
Yes, it does.
And as a member of the finance committee, you've got to talk to church leadership about this, get their position on it as Dave's laid it out.
I'll give you another example, okay? I'll give you another example. Most evangelical churches would be strongly pro-life, anti-abortion. Mm-hmm. And to take tithe money or capital campaign money from an abortion doctor that attends that church would be hypocritical as crud.
Right.
It's the money is not dirty, but the person that you're allowing them to attend the church because you hope you can change them. You hope you can lead them to a better way of life, a better way of living, a better set of activities. If you believe that what they're doing is wrong, okay? And so you've got to, and I'm assuming, let's just make an example here further at your church. If your church says, hey, we don't believe smoking pot is okay from a spiritual standpoint. We don't believe that. If they take that stand, then they not only should not accept this money, but they also should begin to walk with their arm around this weed store owner and lead him into your way of thinking, or make him uncomfortable enough that he finds a church where it's okay to own a weed store. And that, because it needs to be consistent in his spiritual walk, and we need to be clear about what is sin, what isn't in the way you all take a stand on stuff. But the money itself is not dirty. It's how we're treating the people kindly, and kindly disagree with them if we need to. Ken Coleman, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today as we answer your questions about your work, your life, your money, your relationships. On the debt-free stage in the lobby of Ramsey Solutions, Nick and Danny are with us. Hey, guys, how are you?
Hey, we're awesome.
We're good.
Welcome, welcome. Where do you guys live?
Wynnewood, Oklahoma.
All right. Norman area.
Yeah, 3 miles away from Joe Exotic.
Oh, well, not really. He doesn't live there anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I almost said
he has a
Boomer
new
Sooner.
domain he lives in. Yeah. But you got to be famous for something, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I got a friend that's from Ada and the Innocent Man Project, the whole murder series. He's like, Ada's now famous for that, right? Yeah. Oh man, amazing. Well, welcome, guys. Good to have you. How much debt have you paid off?
$75,000.
All right. How long did this take?
3.5 years.
All right. And your range of income during that time?
It was
39,000 started out, and then now it's 4 times that.
So like 150?
Yeah. I mean, it's gone up.
I feel like there's a mystery that Dave and I aren't aware of right now.
He doesn't want to say because somebody's listening.
Well, we're self-employed too, so then there's it kind of is a little bit complicated.
What do you do for a living? What's your business?
I'm a Dave Ramsey Smart Buster Pro in Oklahoma.
He's a financial advisor.
I'm a financial advisor.
Well, good. I'm glad your income went up then. those Ramsey leads are working out for you.
Yes, they are.
Yes, good. I'm glad. That's very good. Cool. Okay. So what kind of debt was your $75,000?
Our house.
All right.
Whoa.
Look at it, weird people.
Yes.
Good. Excellent. And that's everything. How old are you two?
33.
33.
33 years old. You have a paid-for house. What's this house worth?
$350 probably.
Wow.
300.
Very cool.
I like her number better.
Depending on, who.
The financial guy's conservative.
Yeah.
Go figure. Yeah. I love it. So, Danny, do you work outside the home?
Yes, I clean toilets for a living.
Okay, cool.
Clean houses.
Good for you. Good for you. Good for you. So you guys are doing really well. Congratulations.
Yeah. Yes.
And you have a $350,000 paid for home, 33 years old, not a debt in the world.
Yep.
Tell us the story. How did this happen?
Well, we were going to school in Weatherford, and Nick had your radio station on an AM station. I was like, why are you always listening to AM stations? And I was
what
like,
kind of
talk
old man
radio.
are you?
Exactly. I was like,
I
you're
love
so
that stuff.
weird. And then I just got hooked on you and Sean Hannity, and I was like, wow, these guys are awesome.
And that would have been almost 10 years ago. We went through FPU like 8 years ago, did the debt snowball, paid off all our consumer debt, and then became a financial advisor, and eventually, bought a house, paid it off. So it's kind of been in, stages.
Yeah.
But
you are 33 years old with a paid-for house.
Yeah.
Nice
Yes.
stages.
yeah,
Nice job. Well done. Well done. So now you can sit down with someone twice your age and look them in the eye and go, well, my house is paid for.
That's true.
Because I tell people not to take financial advice from broke people, but he ain't broke people. This is good.
He is
This
not.
is good.
Yeah, that's great.
This is very good. I like it. Good. Okay, so what do you tell people the key? You've been through the stages. You've done it in the waves the way you're supposed to. Baby steps 4, 5, 6 are supposed to take a little bit longer, and you're supposed to be living life while you did it, and that's exactly what you did. You paid off all the consumer debt coming out of Financial Peace University. What's the key to getting out of debt?
I would say put first things first, begin with the end in mind. Work hard. We cut $10,000 worth of firewood to pay for our wedding. Like, I've built more fence than any woman should ever build. Yeah, we've always had 2 jobs. Have always just hustled. So it's hard work.
But now it shifted, basically. But it took years and years to get it like that. But now it's like we can let off the throttle and come here, and do stuff like this.
So I kind of think Danny can work rings around all of us. I mean, from building fence and chopping firewood to cleaning toilets. I'm just saying.
And so that's what can I just tell you?
It's impressive.
I love your joy, and I want to tell you something. I love how when Dave asks you what you do, mind you, folks, she's debt-free, no house payment. And you said with a giant smile, I clean toilets for a living. That's awesome. There is honor in all work. And I got to tell you, there's something special about you and the hard work. Why do you say that with that much joy?
I love what I do. I read your book, From Paycheck to Purpose, and I was like, man, I love my job. I wish I would have done it when I got out of high school. Like, just making moms happy, like when they come home to a clean house, clean sheets. Like, I don't know, it just brings joy to my heart.
Do you hear that? you know what? You said cleaning toilets, but that's what you do. You know what you're in the joy business. You give moms joy and a little bit of respite from all of the
for one day.
For one day,
just one day.
Yeah, we get all the the Cheez-Its out of the couch for heaven's sakes. Yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah,
wow. I applaud you.
Thank you.
You guys have a wonderful spirit, and that hard work is attractive to people.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mr. SmartVestor Pro, you have to come clean now. How much is in investments?
It's personally it's 60 or something like that. But we actually are a little bit behind on that because we threw so much at the house and saved to put a lot down.
Okay.
But now
you're about 5 years from being baby step millionaires.
Yeah, now we're able to actually invest, which is way more exciting than paying off debt. It's the whole opposite side of the coin, which now I'm always talking her ear off. Now let's do this and do this, and it's not just
now
boring.
He gets excited.
It's not just the boring looking at how quick we could get it paid off type deal. So
I love it. You guys are amazing.
Yeah.
Congratulations. I'm so proud to have you as a SmartVestor Pro.
Thank you.
Anybody be lucky to have you advising them and teaching them along the way. You are wise beyond your years, and you're really, really incredible. So very fun. Very fun.
Thank
excellent,
you.
excellent. So who were your biggest cheerleaders outside the two of you?
I would say, well, each other and you. Just watching your show. I go to the gym and I just watch your show, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to keep running because Dave's show is awesome. Like, you just are so funny. I love your show. It keeps us motivated.
Wow. Very cool. Well, you keep us motivated for sure. You guys are heroes. Very, very well done. Very well done. Amazing start. Amazing young couple. Rock stars. Good stuff.
Yes.
Good stuff. What was the hardest part for you? The chopping wood.
Keep chopping wood.
Yeah, it's the sacrifices you have to make, which, looking back weren't hard, but, you just do things that our peers don't normally do. We might drive worse cars than them and this and that. But if you don't worry about that stuff, it doesn't matter. So,
how many young couples are willing to chop $10,000 worth of firewood to cash flow a wedding?
For anything.
For anything.
Any reason under the sun.
Yeah, I mean, it's an extraordinary story.
He used to park around the corner when we'd go, or when he would meet with his clients, because his car maybe wouldn't start. So he would park around the corner and actually walk to their house instead of parking in their driveway.
Well, you could find a hill to get it on.
Yeah.
Well, it was a Chevy Impala. It would start almost all the time, but sometimes it wouldn't. It was an ignition thing. It was a good car we had it for a long time.
The financial
Except for that
advisor whose
part.
car won't start. Yeah.
And some people think they got to go in debt for a car to impress people, and you just snuck around the corner and gave great financial advice. They don't know.
Yeah, and what I've found now, like my bigger clients and stuff like that, I could drive the old beat-up truck to their house because they don't know. They know me, and that's all that matters.
Come on,
you know
man.
what? They know what
That's
the beat-up
good.
truck means too.
Yeah.
The big ones do. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff. Well done, guys. Got a copy of Baby Steps Millionaires for you. #1 bestseller. That is the next stage in your journey for sure. The next part of your story. You're an impressive hero young couple. Very, very cool. And, of course, a copy of Total Money Makeover. You can give that away to a client one of these days if you want. Good stuff. Nick and Danny from Norman, Oklahoma. Absolute rock stars. $75,000 paid off. 3.5 years making $39,000 to $160,000. What a great story. Count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
3, 2,
1.
1. We're debt free!
Oh my gosh, there's hope for this world. Just when you think that all the youngsters are idiots, you run into those rock stars, man.
So true.
There is hope for this world. There's a whole generation of those people out there.
That's right.
You old people, we're going to be okay.
That's correct.
We got youngins like that coming on. We're going to be okay. Our scripture of the day, Hebrews 10:35-36. Do not throw away your confidence. It will be richly rewarded. You need to persevere so that when you have done the will of God, you will receive what he has promised. James Madison says the circulation of confidence is better than the circulation of money. Ooh, good stuff. Our question of the day comes from Blinds.com. They have a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Means even if you mismeasure, you pick the wrong color, they'll remake your window blinds for free. Free samples, free shipping, new promos all the time. Always use the magic word, the promo code Ramsey, to get the best deal. Blinds.com.
Today's question comes from JC in Georgia. I'm a 32-year-old engineer with a household income of $95,000. My wife stays home with our 4 kids, and we are in baby steps 4, 5, and 6. We plan on starting a side business this year for me to do some home inspections part-time. Depending on how well this side hustle goes, we've talked about growing this into a full-time business, doing business inspections and consulting in the future. Recently, I discovered that there are franchises available for engineering consulting firms doing this exact type of work. Right now, both the full-time small business and the franchise are just ideas that we're toying with that would not happen for several years after we pile up more cash and do research. As we think about and look into these opportunities, we want to get your advice on buying a franchise versus starting my own business. Would you prefer one or the other? Are there major disadvantages to a franchise that should make us stay away, or is franchising a viable option? I'm going to lean in on Dave on the franchise, even though I know some friends who are franchises or some of the biggest names that you've heard of in that space. I personally would recommend you start your own business. The reason is because you have the experience and the skill set as an engineer who's doing very well right now. Financially, being in baby steps 4, 5, and 6, you're on your way to being baby steps millionaires if you're not already there, and you're starting this idea of doing it on the side, and I like that because it allows you some flexibility as you begin to kind of get in and test which way do I want to go. The home inspections are a great way to make money on your schedule, build up your reputation. I just don't think you need the franchise, this is my opinion, to be as successful as you want to be and can be. I think you can do it on your own, and it's a much better way to go. It's all yours. You're making the call, and you're not having to upfront a bunch of cash and buying into something else. I wouldn't go the franchise route. That's me.
There's 2 things you can get from a franchisor when you buy a franchise. One, you can get national name recognition that you wouldn't have on your own. So you can open Dave's Subway shop, or you can open a Subway Subway shop,
right?
With the green and yellow, and we all know Subway,
yeah, right?
Or Jersey Mike's,
sure,
nationally known. Or Mike could just open, even if he's from Jersey, right? But it's just a Subway shop. And when you roll up in front, the customer gets name recognition. They immediately associate that with a cookie-cutter, predictable experience. They know what they're going to get when they walk in. Okay. In the home inspection world, there's no such thing. There's not a national name that says, oh, I always go to them for home inspections. Home inspections have largely been mom and pop situations, or grown out of mom and pop situations. There's not a national name. The second thing you can get from a franchise is a proprietary, trademarked, copyrighted process or access to use of a certain technology. For instance, in the quick sign business, there is some proprietary software for cutting out the letters and getting them onto those banners and getting them to your office in 3 hours if you wanted to have a banner that says happy birthday at the office. Okay, that proprietary software, if you're an individual, if you want to write that or go build it, might take you a bazillion dollars, not millions, but hundreds of thousands of dollars, lots of man hours. So you get a proven process and or proprietary technology of some kind that gives you a head up. You don't have that either here. There's no such thing here. So I'm with you. I would not go with a franchise in the home inspection business. There's not a proprietary process. There's probably some good business practices that you could learn, but basically you're going to pay an upfront fee, probably not a large one, maybe $20,000 or something for a franchise. Probably wouldn't be a big, it's not a $200,000 Subway.
That's correct.
Or $500,000 McDonald's. It's not that at all, or whatever McDonald's costs these days. But but even though you're doing that, the other thing you're going to do is you're going to pay royalties, a percentage of your gross revenues for the rest of your life. And the success of this business is going to be, in your case, 98% based on you.
Oh,
or the failure.
Relationships with contractors.
Or the failures can be 98%. And even the biggest, most highly dialed in franchises, the success is still 40% based on the operator. You still got to go do the crap.
Yeah, that's right.
You got to show up. You got to do it with excellence. You got to do it clean. You got to do it with a smile, whatever it is. And so the operator still matters. And so I'm not anti-franchise, but you need to analyze what it is you're getting versus what you're giving up. And you're going to be giving up a percentage of your growth and some upfront money for basically some good business practices. No, I wouldn't do it.
And in this situation, you look at the two sides he's looking at, Dave. On the home inspection, if you get connected with some great real estate professionals, you're going to have all the business.
But you can go find engineers that own that have engineering consulting / business home inspection businesses in other cities. Spend a day with them.
That's correct.
Pay them $500.
Yeah.
Take a yellow pad or a recording device and record everything and ask them 8 million questions about what works, what doesn't, what's your biggest challenge, what was your biggest victory, what's the dumbest thing you ever did, what's the smartest thing you ever did, how'd you get your best customers, where do you get them, how do you get them, what do you do, da-da-da-da-da. Just ask a bazillion questions and come home with a business plan, really.
That's correct.
And come home and hustle your butt off and hustle and grind, and grind. You are the secret sauce for sure. In this setting. Most of the time that's true in business anyway, but it's for sure true here.
No question.
So, good question, man. That's a fun one to dial in on. Jan's with us in Lexington. Hi, Jan. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Thank you for taking my call. I appreciate it. This is probably more for Ken. My husband and I are kind of over our heads in this. One of our children is in a situation where she is separated from her husband and children by a distance of 1,000 miles. And obviously, they're divorced, but she's looking to find ways to get closer to them, but is very satisfied with her position. She's a physician. And we don't know, we kind of broached the idea of, well, is it something that you could do remotely? Because there are a lot of types of telemedicine nowadays. And looking online, we were looking at Indeed and LinkedIn, some of those type of things. And it looks like, yes, there are positions, but there's such a wide range of salaries. Is there some general guide or rule of thumb as far as benefits, investment, like things that you put in retirements? Do you get health care? How does it work if you work remotely?
Yeah, well, telemedicine is obviously a new development coming out of the pandemic. And the reality is that I don't think you have to help your daughter that much with this. This is a physician. She knows this world, and what she doesn't know, she can quickly get the answers to this. I think the real issue here is encouraging her and in some way try to help her see that this move is going to be better for her relationally. Because it seems to me, the way I'm reading between the lines here, Dave, is we've got, well, should I move closer to the kids? Should I not? Telemedicine it's a physician doing the consulting over video. It's not.
But here's the thing: she is onto something here, and what she's onto is that more than likely in this remote setting, medicine or otherwise, you're moving from a salary position or an employee position to an independent subcontractor.
Yes.
And so you're becoming self-employed.
In some instances, yes.
Not every instance, but a lot of the work from home is basically freelance.
Right.
You basically move into a freelance gig.
Yeah.
In most cases. I mean, not everything, but a lot of this remote stuff that is fairy tale sounding. What are the red flags in 30 seconds that you look for?
Here's what she needs to be looking for. Instead of trying to do this on her own, we want to see if she can get in with an established medical group or clinic of doctors where they're looking for telemedicine in those positions. We're looking for that. We're looking to be established. Out on your own,
click and mortar.
Independent contractor, I wouldn't do that with the divorce situation.
Click and mortar.
That's right.
Not just click.
That's exactly right.
It's something that has an established roots in the
They're
community.
looking for a specialist in this area, and they're established.
Good. Very good. All right. And beware of stuff that sounds too good to be true, because it is.
It always is.
Yeah, there you go. That puts this hour of the Ramsey Show in the books. We'll be back with you before you know it. In the meantime, remember, there's ultimately only one way to financial peace, and that's to walk daily with the Prince of Peace, Christ Jesus.
Did you know you can listen to The Ramsey Show on your smart speaker? Just tell Alexa, Google Assistant, or Siri to play The Ramsey Show podcast. Check out all Ramsey Network shows on your smart speaker today.